Most people spend months picking countertops, cabinets, flooring, tiles, but very few of them spend any time thinking about how light moves through their home, or what it does, or how it makes them feel inside. I'm Dorcas Adewole, and today, the house guest, we're pulling up a chair for Julee Ireland, an architectural interior designer, founder of the Home Renovation School, and someone who's been rethinking what a healthy home actually means. Welcome to The House Guest, the show where people who build and design beautiful homes get to talk about their work. We bring in people who are thriving in their fields, designers, remodelers, builders, and give them the floor. Real expertise, real stories, and real answers to your questions. I'm Dorcas Adewole, and with me today is someone who started her career in fashion design, actually, moved into decorative painting and faux finishes, went on to design for some of America's largest home builders, and somewhere along the way, we're going to hear about it today, built one of the most interesting platforms in design today. Julee Ireland, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm a fan of Houzz, and I'm just so happy to be here. So thank you.
Amazing. And before we get into everything that we have in store today, I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit of a quick who you are, what you do, and how you got into it.
Yes. Well, I'm an architectural interior designer. What that means is that I do both the architecture of the homes as well as the interiors. I'm based in Santa Monica, California, but I work nationwide. And I'm also the founder of Home Renovation School. So that is where I teach homeowners, DIYers, professionals, my exact process of over 25 years of designing, building, and renovating from the ground up. So I'm an educator as well. I absolutely love it. This is such a fabulous career, and it's taken me on this journey that is just absolutely amazing.
That's incredible. Let's get into it then.
Yeah.
We've talked about the future of design a little bit when we were getting in touch. And you said something that really stuck with me. And you said the future of design isn't just beautiful homes, it's healthy ones. And I think that's something that's really, really interesting for the community to genuinely be conscious of. So when you say a healthy home design, what do you really mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, being very thoughtful about the materials that you put in your home. The three qualities that are the most important when building a healthy environment is your air, water, and light. You will see in my designs, and you see that the first thing that I do actually when I'm designing a set of plans is really to place all the windows. I want as much natural light as possible. So that is so incredibly important. The air that we breathe in all of my homes, we have an air purification system. And then water, of course, filtered water throughout is super important. And just being mindful of, your flooring, understanding the material, where it's made, how it's made, what it's made with, the glues that you use underneath your wood floors, the grout that you're using, the paint. Sherwin-Williams has a new plant-based 100% zero VOC paint with the Emerald line called Symmetry. And I've already used it, and it's one of my favorite paint lines. So if you all haven't used it, make sure you go check out Emerald at Sherwin-Williams. But it's plant-based, so it's good for you. So what you're breathing indoors matters.
Yeah.
And lighting is everything. Lighting affects how we feel, how we experience a space. It affects the color on our wall.
Yeah.
So it changes. So those are the things, very mindful. And this is not a trend. This is something that's here to stay.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about health and wellness. This is a global movement that I would say I am learning every day Right now, I'm building my first wholly healthy home in Alabama.
Whoa.
And we
Oh,
have a
wow.
doctor on staff. So we're taking it to the next level. So when I select and specify a product, gets run by the doctor, the health and wellness doctor, who then comes back after doing his deep dive research and says, this is a go or this is a no. It's really fun, but it's important to me to leave my clients and with a healthy home environment, you know?
Yeah. I love quite literally everything that you said there, but something stuck out to me right as you started going through that list of things, and it's surrounding lighting specifically. I think
Mhm.
you mentioned it was one of the most underrated tools within design, and I have to be honest, I'm not a professional, so I didn't even think of it as a tool for design or not just kind of the aesthetics of a place. I guess my question is, can you break down how someone who's never thought of that about it that way would look at lighting under this kind of your philosophy?
Yeah, that is another thing that most homeowners, even a lot of designers, don't really get into. They don't get into smart technology, home technology, and lighting. I use Lutron Ketra in pretty much every project that I do.
What is that?
Lutron, Ketra, well, Lutron, they've been around forever. I mean, I think they have like over 300 patents on lighting, but they have
Oh,
full spectrum lighting.
okay.
And what that means is your lighting literally will follow you from day to night, right? So it keeps our natural rhythm in rhythm. So when
Nice.
we wake up in the morning, right, we
Yeah.
want bright light. We want to be awake. That's when we want to be alive. We need energy to start our day. So the lighting will mirror wherever you are in the world, what's happening outdoors. So as the sun rises, so is your lighting rising. As it sets, your lighting is setting and
Oh,
winding you down at the end of the day. But a lot of designers are afraid of it because they're like,
yeah.
the technology, it's too complicated. Well, here's a little secret, folks. I may lay out an RCP, but I definitely hire a lighting designer. That's all
Oh,
they do is lay out the smart lighting. So I'll go on to my RCP, my reflected ceiling plan, and I will lay out, okay, I know I want to put art here. So I'm going to want an art light. I want LED on the base. I want LED here, and I'll lay that all out on my plan. And then I hand that over to my lighting designer and I say, I'd like 4-inch mud in lights, throughout, blah, blah, blah. They then actually lay out the lighting plan. So
oh
designers,
wow.
you don't have to do it yourself. Hire an expert, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going out and framing the house, right? You
Yeah.
hire an expert framer. Don't be afraid of it. I think it is one thing that people leave off their budget. And
Yeah.
it's one of the, actually, that is like the first two things I do are windows and my lighting plan and my
Yeah.
smart home lighting integration, because this technology is also here to stay.
Yeah.
It's in every hotel.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone
That's
to
so
a
true.
beautiful 5-star hotel and you're pushing the buttons and you're like, oh, daylight setting, nighttime setting, reading setting. Those keypads are all part of smart home integration. They come in brass, black. There's so many different finishes. So it can be discreet, it's elegant, and you can do everything from a clear kind of glass white one if you like,
Oh.
to a really cool finish. So you can match your finishes in your house too.
That's
So,
amazing. I think beyond just lighting, what you described there was a little bit of an all-encompassing thought, right? It's not just looking at lighting, it's how lighting interacts with your day. It's how you want to wake up and feel in the morning. It's how you want to experience everything else, right, in your home as well, which I think is such a like mindset shift for a lot of people kind of hearing you speak right now. Do you find that when you're communicating that to your clients, when you're kind of bringing that up, that's something that people are aware of, or are you doing a bit of an educating piece on that side as well?
Yeah, it's about 50-50. I do kind of specialize in luxury homes. So a lot of my clients, this isn't their first home,
Yeah.
right? And so they might have some knowledge of that, the healthy home that I'm building in Alabama. My client is actually a contractor and has one of the largest construction companies actually in the US. He's in, I think, 8 different states or something. So he had a lot of knowledge about it and knew right off the bat, oh, this is important. And so that was great. But then I have another project in Houston where, I'm building their dream home. Yes, they've been homeowners before,
Yeah.
but no one's ever educated them on this. So they didn't even know what it
Oh,
was. And we do have a smart lighting system, technology, all of that in their house, security cameras, all of that. What's so great about it is you can operate everything for your house from a keypad, from your phone. So let's say you're on vacation
yeah.
and you're on the other side of the planet
Yeah.
and your house, no one's at your house, you can program your lights to go on so it looks like someone's home. So
That's
there's just so
amazing.
many great benefits, with a touch of a keypad. And you can set your programming so you never really have to touch your lights again. They'll just go according to your lifestyle, your pattern. And I just think it's here to stay. I mean,
Yeah.
I think every home, my prediction is
Oh,
every home in the next 10 years, most homes are going to have some type of smart lighting integration. It's pretty cool. And I think that most people have kind of, been afraid of it. And
yeah.
it's just one of the most important things. Like I would put in spend the money on the lighting and everything and buy a less expensive countertop or backsplash tile or maybe even flooring before I would cast out the lighting. It's
I
literally everything. It sets the tone, the mood, the experience for your space, every space in your house.
I think we are getting hot tips here. We are getting things that we should be writing down, bolding it, making sure everyone in our households know about it. Because, yeah, this is some of the things that we don't think about, right? There's a lot of people that are very focused on what the countertops are going to look like, what the flooring is going to look like. But then what does that even look like if the lighting isn't right, right? So,
If
okay,
the lighting's off, and we've all been in a house too, where
yeah,
you're like, this feels like a hospital.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
because the temperature of
yeah,
your lighting matters.
yeah,
People just go to Home Depot, they think they just buy the LED light and
yeah,
just pop that up. No, the color temperature is so incredibly important and it affects every object in your house, every piece of
yeah,
furniture, every color, every paint color, every cabinet color. So that's where going to one of those lighting experience centers will help you to see it because they can show you, look what this looks like under this light, like 5,000 Kelvin. Now look
yeah.
at it 3,000. And which is kind of where I like to stay, 2,700 to
Okay,
32, somewhere in there, nice warm
yeah.
lighting. It's just very, especially for home environment.
Amazing. And I have so many other things that I want to ask you, but you seem like the perfect person for us to do this next little bit with. So, Julie, we're going to transition to tricks of the trade. So, this is where you pull back the curtain and share some industry knowledge, some tips, some tricks that most people maybe don't know about or don't have access to. So, you mentioned to me, Julie, at the beginning that some big mistakes that people are making are even before construction begins, right? Walk us through that. What are homeowners doing wrong before even a single wall gets stripped down?
Yes, what they're doing is they're starting construction without having a concrete plan. The
Mm,
first thing is to really take the time to mindfully develop a plan. And what I mean by that is also a set of plans.
yeah,
Even if you're just doing a kitchen, you need accurate measurements. You need to know
yeah,
what the layout is, right? You can't price even your cabinetry if you don't have all the right measurements and know the layout. know where your appliances are going to live, all of those things.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of homeowners get really excited. They're like, "Oh, we're going to remodel our kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's take the cabinets out." And they move on demo day before they even have a plan.
Yeah.
And that's where mistakes happen because you need to have your plans, you need to have a budget, you need
Yeah.
to know your numbers. How much do you have to spend?
Yeah.
You may be in a situation where you go, okay, our cabinets are in good shape.
Yeah.
I don't have when they price it out, right? Because they have a plan and they price it out and they're like, oh, the cabinets are too, it's over our budget. Well, that's fine. Then you go to plan B. Let's sand them down and stain them. Let's put maybe a new door. Let's
Yeah.
maybe take a door and put some type of maybe a reeded material or something on it to make
Yeah.
them different. Let's paint them. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But yeah, that's where all the mistakes happen, you
And
know.
I wonder if, as a professional, you're coming into these environments, do you do anything to make sure that you are helping your professionals in that? Building these things out on the go as you go with them? Or do you kind of go in, do a little surveying, go back, get in your systems, and then put something in front of them?
Well, the first step is architectural set of plans, engineered set of plans, the
Yeah.
survey. Now, that is if you're doing a full remodel or a new build. You have to have those in place. From that, you're accurately able to, as a designer, I kind of know
Yeah.
from if I'm working with a client, I've interviewed them extensively. I understand their lifestyle, their vision, their
Yeah.
wishes. Do they have a dog? Do they have 5 kids? Like, what is their situation? Do they have aging parents, right?
Yeah.
So the first step is understanding that, and then understanding, okay, they want wood floors. They want some beams, wood on ceilings. So from there, then I'm able to kind of select some
Okay.
materials and I will ask them, what is your total budget, right? So then I can kind of back it out a little bit
Yeah.
and we start getting bids and you assemble that budget first. I mean, everything from your grading to your
Yeah.
foundation, you put your architectural fees in there, your designer fees, the
Yeah.
survey, all the things, and you apply budgets. I've just been doing this a long time,
Yeah.
25 years, almost 1,000 homes. So it's like for me, I can kind of look at it and
Yeah.
know, okay, we need a $50,000 budget
Yeah.
for X.
Obviously, as I'm speaking to you, I am getting such a great experience of your knowledge, your understanding, your thoughtfulness as you build. I wonder, as you're working with people across the country, what's the first thing that you tell them to kind of build that from the beginning, even if you're not physically there with them?
Yeah, well, my process always starts with a paid consultation. I have when you do sign up for a consultation with me, I have quite a few questions that you'll kind of answer. They're just important questions that I need to know before I meet with you. And then I'll request additional things like any inspiration boards. I spend considerable time really just understanding who the family is, what their wishes are, what do they want this home to look like? What do they want the experience? What's important to them? And so that's the first step for me is really understanding the project, the needs, the lifestyle,
Yeah.
how they want to feel and experience the space. And we have that first kind of meeting and I explain how I work as a designer, which is also very kind of unorthodox how I've structured my
Oh,
business. But I'll explain all of that. And then if we sign a contract or whatever, the first step is the plans. It's always
yeah.
the plans first, getting that architecture correct, getting it to where it is what they've always dreamed of. And
Yeah.
then from there, moving in to some of the other materials. And I do 3D, 2D elevations are incredibly important. I think every
Yeah.
designer, if you don't do that and you really want to grow and do bigger projects, you need to add that. Add that to your quote or whatever. It's necessary. People
Yeah.
need to be able to visualize their space. They can't
Yeah.
just have a talking head.
Not everyone can see what you can see, right? I am sure you walk into a space, you have the vision,
Yeah.
25 years, almost 1,000 homes. You can see it,
Yeah.
right? Do you
Yeah.
recommend any tools, any systems, any tricks to any other designers who are listening that might want to be like, okay, I need to step up. I want to be doing these types of projects. What tools are they looking at?
So there's a lot of different programs out there. I've gone to UCLA and taken several classes and stuff there. Here's
Oh,
another thing. I am completely self-taught, folks.
oh, I love
I
that.
am self-taught in design and architecture, and I've taken all the drafting classes. And so AI is the most important tool. And of course, I use Houzz. So
Love
the
to
Houzz
hear that.
platform is just so easy because it literally has everything you can imagine, from estimating to, invoicing to mood boards, like you can do it all. So those are the tools that I use every day in my own business. You have to show them what it's going to look like, and then they're going to tweak it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, usually I'm pretty spot on just because I spend so much time really understanding and saying, hey, in the beginning, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this
Yeah.
material? And getting that feedback. And then I curate the space and I do not overwhelm my clients. Here's another thing I see a lot of designers even do is they'll take their client into a tile store. Like,
Oh,
that is overload, overwhelm. My job as a designer is to really narrow it down and understand the colors that make them feel good, the materials that they want around them. And I'm in my design connect everything to nature, like the environment that's outside the particular home that I'm building matters. And
yeah.
I want to bring that indoors, right? So that this house feels cohesive with the earth, like that
Yeah.
it's sitting on. So, yeah, and then I kind of curate the materials, but I do not give them more than two. When it comes to lighting, sometimes I have a hard time because I love lighting so much. I'm like, I want that light, that light, that light. And I might give them three or four choices, but really my job is to do the work for them. Do you like tile A, tile B? Oh, I
Yeah.
like B. Great. I'm going to mail you a sample of that so you can now see it and touch it and feel it, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
my personal process. I do all the heavy lifting for them.
It sounds like a dream to work with you. Honestly, I
Oh,
can't
thank
wait
you.
to recommend you to absolutely everyone that I know. But
Oh, thank
I
you.
wonder the one question for tricks and trade that I think I think people will be asking too is what's the part of your job that doesn't make it to the wonderful photos that you have, that doesn't make it to the very lovely, beautiful finish? What's the one part of your job that doesn't really show up in those photos?
I think the most important asset of any designer and that doesn't show up is just listening.
Yeah.
This is not my home. This is their home. So I think really listening, you really need to understand and hear if we're wearing green. If they
Yeah.
like green, I'm going to give them green. It's a lot of times too, people can't really, they struggle with paint, even paint color, right? I think that that is a big struggle with a lot of people. And I always say I am just so grateful and thankful for having that gift of color and being able to see it. But
Yeah.
most people can't. But understanding what colors, so if they're having a hard time communicating a color, I'll literally kind of do a little deep dive science with them and be like, do you like color A or color B in the blue zone? Do you like color A, color B in the green zone? It's like a little quiz, and that really helps me
Oh,
to hone in. Or they might go, we do not like green at all. We just don't like green, but we love blue. Great. Now I have direction, right?
yeah.
So it's my job to help them find what are the colors, because everything in our life really relates to our life experiences from
Yeah.
childhood to right here, right now, in this moment. And there might be a reason why green it scares them or whatever,
Yeah.
or it doesn't feel good, right? It's a matter of getting to that, finding that perfect palette, and then I use that palette to then now start selecting my materials. You know what I mean? As a designer, so it's listening. The what we bring is clarity. That's what we should be bringing. Perfect clarity and confidence.
I love
That's
that.
my job. It's helping to bring that clarity. It's helping to take, I don't know, in the sea of products, they go into Floor and Decor or something or Dow Tile Shop because they get excited and they want to start looking and then they're just overwhelmed, or Ferguson Home or something gallery. And they're like, wait, what plumbing? Like, wait,
Yeah.
what color? So
Yeah.
that's what a designer's key, I think, job is just bringing crystal clear clarity, honing it all in to get to the bottom. It's like we're part therapist here, right?
I
Like, come sit on my couch. Come sit on my comfy couch and let's take a deep dive.
that is I love that. But crystal clear clarity, I can't say that clarity. Say it 10 times over.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that we don't hear about, right?
Yeah.
That's such a great way of putting it. Now, the design dilemma. So here's how this part is going to work. We have scoured, we have collected, we have really looked for real questions, real problems, real what do I do here moments
Yeah.
from the Houzz community. And Julie, I think you're incredibly gifted in this area in terms of
Thank
helping.
you.
So you're going to help us solve them. So I'm going to rapid fire through a few of these. Let's go. The school's in session
That's
right now.
school's
Okay.
in session. Let's
School's in
go.
session. Okay, so Wendy E, we need some help with a weird wall. Okay.
Yeah.
We just moved in. I need help with two things. I can't center my sofa because of the layout constraints, but how can I decorate or do something with this weird strip of wall space? So we have a photo that it is of a open area, but there is a pillar wall right bang down in the middle of it, and then there's some space to either side.
Yeah,
So
I see that. Yeah.
Wendy E is asking, what do I do with that wall space? What would you say to that?
Yeah, there is so much that you can do with that space, actually. First of all, you don't have to stay married to what's there. I can't see in the photo, it's kind of not showing me the end. I can tell that there's a hallway. You could drywall that space off. You could
Oh,
just simply drywall that wall, just bring it all the way down, which will then give you separation in the space. Okay, so that's one thing. And I'm seeing this, I'm seeing the vent on the wall. I don't know, you
yeah,
see that big vent. And I'm also seeing their temperature control. So that would hide that,
yeah.
right? Because that's a very, usually I do, my vents very modern and seamless,
Okay.
so they kind of disappear. But that is very, you could also change that vent, by the way. You could just change that out to more modern vent. But that would be one thing that you can do. The other thing would be you could definitely wrap those columns with something kind of decorative. You can trim that out really beautifully.
Oh,
And I'd probably do both of them because I'm seeing the entry like
yeah,
door right from there. The other thing that I would say is don't get stuck on, oh, I have an opening here and here.
yeah,
Just focus on the living space. Pretend like there's a wall there
yeah.
and then lay your furniture out the way I would bet to say from looking at the photo, if we go down the hall a little bit, it's probably a wall that's probably
Yeah.
leading to some bedrooms, and there's probably another wall with a fireplace. That's probably the
Oh, yeah.
layout of the space. And because it's two-story, it probably goes all the way up that fireplace. So we would probably be centering that furniture kind of off of the fireplace. Don't worry about the fact that there's an opening behind you. Just mindfully place and integrate the furniture the way you want your conversation to go in that space. I would probably do two sofas facing each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And the part two to Wendy's question was Wendy actually has some reupholstering to do of a burnt tuxedo style sofa. So, what is your upholstering tip? What is the one thing that you're like, okay, if you're going to upholster, this is what you need to know?
Yeah. Well, first of all, a reupholstering sometimes can cost you more than buying a new sofa. So, what I say is if it's something that has meaning to you, then reupholster it. Go
Yeah.
through the process and reupholster it. If it's not something that you're tied to, it might be time to let it go and get something new. But if you really love it, and I see that she also wrote that it's a Bernhardt,
Yeah.
that this sofa. Who doesn't love Bernhardt? First of all, it is, they make just timeless, beautiful furniture and quality furniture. So it is a quality piece for sure. That it looks, the scale of it looks more like a love seat than a
Yeah.
full-size sofa. So definitely if she just has one, I would probably maybe reupholster that in some kind of a fun pattern, something,
Oh,
right? To make that, because that must, if she wants to reupholster it, or if you want to reupholster it, I'm thinking it does have some kind of special meaning to you.
yeah.
And so I would pick a fabric that you just really love with a little pattern and color. And then we pick other pieces. Let that be the star in the space. Let that be the focal moment of the furniture, and then tie in some of those colors and the other items in the space.
Okay, what is the difference between a family room and a living room? Big question that we find people asking online. What is the difference?
Well, historically, like the living room was more like a formal parlor. And then after the war, then after World War II, actually, then the family room was kind of created to have more of a gathering space. It was a little less formal. And
Oh,
then around the 80s to 90s, that's when open concept really started to take its toll and then flourish out there, to where then the kitchen became the family room. And that's where we call the great room. So now it's one whole
oh,
space. So that's kind of the difference in a nutshell. And I would say most people now in our lifestyles have changed so much. We
yeah.
don't necessarily go after dinner into a
And sit.
formal living room to talk, right? Now, my mother, that's what they did.
Yeah,
I grew up with the formal living room. It was
yeah,
very formal, and you only went in there when you had guests and that type
yeah,
of thing. Now we still, like, I'm doing a house in Houston right now, and they wanted one room that was a little more formal. They have a baby
yeah.
grand piano, they play piano. So
Oh,
I've designed that space to be, separation. So they technically have like a living room space that's a little more formal. And then they have also a formal dining room, because they
oh,
also wanted a
yeah,
separate dining room. So those are kind of the differences, but I would say make that space whatever you want it. It could be a
yeah.
library, it can be an office. That's the kind of history of it all.
I think it makes me think of growing up myself, and we had more of a living into dining area where we used to hang out, because then my mum could see us, or we could all sit, discuss as things were coming out, and just have a great, wonderful time. So now I'm like, oh, I'm learning so much, Julie. You're incredible. Okay, I'm going to give
Thank
you
you.
one more dilemma before we have
Okay.
to wrap up. I'm going to choose a fun one for us. You know what? Let's go for MJEC06, who asked advice for kitchen hardware. Doing a remodel, but keeping my maple shaped cabinets. They are in good shape and custom, but they have aged to somewhat a yellow orange. I'm
Okay.
adding in a new island in sage green, adding a beverage center in sage, also redoing my pantry in sage using
Beautiful.
MSI Solatage.
Love
Something like
MSI. Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
and countertops and a full backsplash. The question is, can I use matte black hardware on the maple cabinets and use like a champagne or a honey bronze on the green cabinetry? Is that okay, or what do you feel about that one?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just got a full visual of that. So thanks for being so descriptive. I love to mix materials, and that is mixing metals. I love to mix cabinets, wood and painted. I think the choices, like I can see the sage. I'm a green
Yeah,
person. I'm wearing green.
we love
You're
green
wearing
here.
green. We love green. Sage is just a really pretty calming color. So I would say 100% yes, you can. When it comes to golds, there are so many different golds. So it's about finding balance within the space.
Yeah.
Your lighting, if you just had the hardware in black just on the cabinets, but it's nowhere else in a lighting or something, it might feel a little disconnected. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of finding just a little cohesive, like where we're
Yeah.
sprinkling it together in kind of
Yeah.
equal moments, and then making sure, like if your faucet is, a gold or
Yeah.
something like that, a champagne bronze or something like that, you
Yeah.
want to kind of look at your hardware with that, and you want to kind of get that gold tone kind of somewhat cohesive,
Similar.
right? Because they can look very
Yeah.
drastic, because that will then create harmony
Yeah.
through the pieces. But I am all for it. And then if your cabinets are in good shape, I'm all for sanding those down. They probably just need to be sanded down, because when
Oh.
natural light hits wood and hits that polyurethane finish or that finish on the cabinet, it turns it yellow over time. It's the
Oh.
same thing that happens when you put a rug down.
Yeah.
And if you don't move your rugs around and you have a wood floor and you go, oh, I'm going to pick up my rug and do house cleaning, and you're going to see a little square or circle or whatever the shape of your rug, it's because the natural light has changed the color of the wood slightly. So I'm sure that's probably what's happened. It's an easy fix. It's going to take a lot of sanding and whatever, but you have that sanded down to the wood and just reapply a finish, and you're going to have that natural wood tone back again.
That's incredible. That's a great tip. I'm looking around at my own space and my hardwood floors and the rug that's been on there and the sunlight that comes in every day. And now I need to think about this. So that's incredible. Thank you so much for that, Julie. I'm going to ask you one more, Julie. It's from Aaron. It's about a 70s ranch remodel. And Aaron asks, have you ever remodeled a 70s ranch and added an addition, right? How
Yeah.
did everything tie in together to make the 70s style home not look like it was just sat next to a 2026 add on? Do you have any tips on kind of that?
I do. Well, first of all, I love myself a good ranch home because I grew up in one. And so I'm very
Ooh.
familiar with the design style and everything. What's really important is taking a look at, well, first of all, you really have to know on your property. So you have to kind of look at the survey and understand your build
Yeah.
lines, right? Where you can build to, like the layout, what part of the house can you add on to both ends? You might be able to, if you have the space to do that. You need to be mindful and think about, okay, what am I wanting to add on? Is it like a primary suite wing? Is it a guest wing? So be really clear about that. And then it's you definitely have to have someone come and measure, and you need to create an as-built set of plans if you don't have the original plans, so that you have all accurate measurements, placements of windows and doors and all the things. And a lot of these homes also have shorter ceilings, right? Back in that time, an
Oh,
8-foot ceiling was like the norm.
yeah.
Well, now we like our taller ceilings. So it's first getting the as-built plans, getting an engineer involved too, because structurally you need to understand, okay, what type of foundation is this house
Yeah.
sitting on? Structurally, how can we build onto it? And then going up in that attic, that's what I love, discovering the attic,
Oh my
seeing if
gosh.
I can raise the ceilings, raise that roof
Oh,
anywhere. So taking a look at that. And then the other thing that is super important, and this is the key to making it still look like that ranch home and like it wasn't an add-on, yet bringing it up to date, that is making sure that all your architectural elements are the same. So
uh,
your window sizes, your window heights, like you want to keep them consistent throughout the design.
yeah.
And then it doesn't look like an afterthought at all. Or you might make the decision to add more windows or larger windows, because our windows were a lot smaller back then too. So if you're wanting to
Okay.
open up and do larger windows, again, you just have to do the whole house so that they're all consistent. So it's
Yeah.
really even that brick that's probably on the house in places. If you can't find the exact brick, then you could opt to paint the brick. So then you can use any kind of brick, right?
Yeah.
That has the similar size and shape. You have to find the same kind of size, shape, scale, but then you could just paint it, and then that's
Yeah.
saving you some money on the brick, not having to remove all the exterior brick. So, yeah, look for moments to vault the ceiling if you can. Look for moments to open up. Those ranch houses back then, definitely everything was separated. So, you're going to find some moments, I think, where you might be able to open. It might be probably structural, but usually there would be the family room and the kitchen, and there would be a wall separating them. That's probably structural, but look for a way to maybe open that up. So look for ways on the interior and the layout to just slightly open things up and give it more breathing room. And then if you
Yeah.
can lift those ceilings wherever you can,
Yeah.
and it's going to really bring it forward and modernize the home for you.
We could be here for another hour.
Yes, we could. You have any more questions?
Okay, so before I let you go, Julie, you mentioned the home renovation school, and I want to make sure that people know what that is and where to look out for that. So, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So first of all, Dorcas, I want to say thank you so much for having me today. It's so much fun. So Home Renovation School is a course where I teach DIYers, designers. I even have builders that have the program. And it's my exact process of over 25 years of designing, building, and renovating homes from the ground up. I take you
Wow.
through everything. I teach you about materials. I teach you about the difference between a pressure balance and a thermostatic valve. You're going to learn all about cabinets. You're going to learn everything that you need to know to be able to really effectively manage your project, finding a perfect contractor, setting a budget. I share my
Yeah.
exact budget that I use
Ah,
on my own projects. So
what?
literally, I have held nothing back. I've poured it all out. And then I also do consultations. So through my website, juleeireland.com, you can find the link to take you to Home Renovation School. You can find the inquire button and you can schedule a consultation with me if you like, to just kind of help you if you're starting a project, or maybe even if you need a designer, we can walk through that and talk all about it. But and then you can also just DM me, follow me on Instagram and all my socials at Julee Ireland, Julee Ireland. My name is spelled a little bit different. And feel free to DM me.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about design and
Yeah.
architecture. Mhm.
And I am sure everyone is going to want to see your work. So please check out Julie's work. Trust me, you want to see it. You want to see kind of how her brain, everything that we've spoken about today, comes to life as well. So check her out, head to her house profile, which is going to be linked in the show notes. Julie, it was eye opening to see you. Honestly,
Thank
I am a
you.
changed person after
Aw,
having had this conversation with you. You have so
thank
much
you.
knowledge, and your eye is incredible. Those dilemmas, we'll be talking about them forever because
Okay.
I love
Send,
that.
send them more. School's in session, folks.
School is in session. I love that. But thank you so, so, so much for being
Yeah.
here. And it's been an absolute pleasure just having this conversation with you. And so, for our listeners, that's the house guest for this week. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, or a question to ask, or an idea even that you hadn't considered, perhaps how you think about lighting, right? That's exactly why we're here. That's exactly what we want you to be thinking of. So subscribe wherever you listen. Email your dilemmas for next time to podcast@houzz.com, and find our guest today and all of the guests that we will have on Houzz. I'm Dorcas Adewole. Thank you so much and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.